Hey, DBE fam, welcome back to the show. I feel like we need a name for ourselves, like the Evolvers or something, but that sounds like Marvel. I mean, we could totally do that. If you have ideas, let me know. Drop them into the comments, the show notes, the somewhere, the DMs. I don't know. Let me know. I'd love if I could have a name for us, you know? I feel like we're a crew. We need we need a name with matching jackets. That'd be cool. I love a matching jacket. Like a bomber jacket. That's what I would want. Not denim or anything like that, or like a blazer. I want like a bomber, like one of those, or like, remember the Adidas jackets from the 90s? I had one of those, the big puffy ones. Anyway, all right, let's get into it. Today we are chatting about the 5 common mistakes that either a new coach often makes or a new coaching program will sort of fall into the trap of these mistakes. Now, this came from one of our incredible clients who asked this question. I said, what a great idea. So in an effort to always over-deliver, not only am I going to give you 5 of the most common mistakes right here, right now, today on the episode, but if you click the link in the show notes, we have a free download for you with 5 more mistakes. So there you have it. You're going to get a total of 10 mistakes to make sure that you don't fall into the trap of any of these. If you do, don't judge yourself. If you've done them, not a big deal. You can always course correct, but I want to just kind of chat about it. So let's get into it. The first mistake that, again, it's either like a new coach or a new coaching program. We can even say a new offer that you're putting out. Sometimes we all fall into these traps, these mistakes, these pitfalls, these roadblocks. And let me just tell you, I have made all of these mistakes. That's how I know about them. So the first one is creating after selling. No, it's creating first. Creating before selling. Sorry, I got tripped up. I'm human, whatever. So if you spend time, energy, and potentially money creating your course, your program, your ebook, your videos, your downloads, and then you try to sell it, this is a huge mistake. It's a huge thing that I don't want you to fall into the same challenge that I have and so many of our clients. Honestly, this is probably the most common thing that coaches do, and it's probably the number one mistake. And it's probably, I'm going to say, one of the biggest reasons why people quit the coaching industry or they quit digital marketing before they've actually even tried it or given it like a valiant effort. What we do is we figure out that we want to make something. We're going to build a course. We're going to build a coaching program. I'm so excited. Somebody asked me about something and I want to turn it into an ebook. I'm going to make a video. I'm going to do a tutorial. And we get so excited, especially when it's our idea, that we then go and we spend time creating it. And if you've ever created anything before, you know that it takes a lot of time. So maybe for you, that is figuring out how to use Canva and you're doing things and moving things around on Google Docs, or you're trying to figure out how to put it into a platform like Teachable, Thinkific, Kajabi. You're filming videos, you buy yourself a ring light, you're trying to figure that out. And you spend all of this time and maybe money building something that you haven't actually sold yet. And then if you've tried before, you maybe have experienced that after you spend all of this time and you pour your blood, sweat, and tears into this thing and you're so attached to it and you're even calling it your baby, which is like the worst thing that you can do. We don't want to do that with our business, right? You put an offer out into the world and maybe you hear crickets. Nobody buys it. Nobody's interested. People push back on the price point, or maybe you make a couple sales, but it's not what you expected. And of course, we both know expectations equal experience. So you want to be completely detached when you are launching something and have no expectations going into it. But that's a topic for another day, right? So the worst thing that you can do for your own confidence and schedule, calendar, and pocket, wallet, is creating it first and then trying to sell it. Don't do that. That's backwards. And I know it seems counterintuitive, and we've talked about it before, but if you look at any major company, if you look at things like Kickstarter or Indiegogo, their entire model is based off of sell the idea, sell the prototype, sell the promise of the transformation, get people to invest their money into the idea. And then when you have the capital, you'll actually go create the thing. That's literally what Kickstarter is. That's what venture capital people do when we're raising money for a company. It's like, I have this idea for this product or this company. We're going to bring it to market based on all the numbers in the past, based on all the other competitor companies, based on all the other things going on right now. This is what it should look like. This is what it should sell for. This is what it would be. Here's the opportunity. Now, if you believe in it and me, give me the money and let's go do it. It's the same thing here. So when you're putting out a course, a coaching program, an ebook, a meditation, anything like that you're going to be selling, I want you to sell the offer, sell the invitation, sell the idea, sell the promise of the transformation with as much detail as possible. And then when you have the money and people have paid you, the first person has paid you, you don't need hundreds of thousands of dollars. When the first person has paid you, that is evidence that there's market demand for the thing that you want. That's evidence for your language, your messaging is actually sticking, you're nailing it. That's evidence that the solution that you're offering is in fact a problem that someone has and is willing to pay for. So a huge mistake that new coaches make and new course creators make is that they create the thing first and then they try to sell it. But really you want to sell it first, then tweak and iterate as needed, keep modifying, keep making enhancements to it. And once the money comes in, the first cent comes in, let that be the fire under your tush to now go actually create it. Get paid to create it. Get paid to have that overhead if you are going to need capital for certain reasons, if you're outsourcing, etc. Okay? So first mistake is make sure that you are not creating it first, but rather selling it first. The second mistake also has to do with the sale. Most of the time, we are selling by accident the airplane and not the island. And I've talked about this so many times. A lot of times, especially as service providers, as trainers, as coaches, as gut therapists, as healers, as real estate agents, we get so caught up in what we're doing, what we're teaching, and what we're delivering that we forget that that's ultimately not what the person is buying. So if someone is having a struggle or a challenge, they want that fixed. They don't necessarily care how you're going to fix it. Now, take that with a grain of salt. Of course, some people care, but think big picture here. This is why the weight loss industry is what it is. The diet pill industry, the liposuction, the cold fat burning, the tummy tucks, all the enhancements and the removals are such a big industry because people want a solution to the problem and they want it fast. We live in a world of instant gratification. How fast can you get me my solution? And can you get it to me where I have to do the least amount of work possible? This is not just like, I'm not just saying this is how it works. This is the reality of society and the way that we think and the way that we've all adapted to what we have and the opportunities that we have. If we didn't want it quickly with the least amount of work possible, then industries like the diet pill industry and Ozempic and fat burners and liposuction and all these things wouldn't exist the way that they do. But if I could just walk into your office and you can nip, tuck, snip, and I can walk back out and have barely any healing time and I didn't have to diet or watch my food or go to the gym or do any sort of hard work for X amount of months on repeat over and over and be consistent, then I'll do that all day, every day. Now, you might not, and I probably wouldn't either, right? But like I'm saying you collectively. What happens though is we get caught up in selling the airplane and the vehicle that's going to get people from A to Z, and people really don't care about the vehicle. They just want to get there. So I always use the example of Greece, right? If I called you up and I said, yo, you want to go to Greece with me? It's going to be amazing. We're going to each pack our suitcases. We're going to have to like smash enough stuff in for 2 weeks into a little tiny suitcase. Then you're going to call a cab or an Uber. You're going to go to the airport. I'll meet you at the airport. When we get there, we're going to go to the front. We're going to check in. They're going to take our bags after they weigh them. Of course, it's going to weigh too much. So we're going to have to take a couple things out right there in the middle of the airport. We're going to have to unzip our bags. Oh, so embarrassing. Throw some stuff in our backpack. We're going to go through security. The line is going to be really long. It's totally fine. We'll just talk. We'll hang out. Once we go through security, we're going to find the gate. When we get to the gate, we're going to sit there for like 45 minutes before we get to board the plane. But then we're going to board the plane. It's going to be a 7-hour flight. It's going to be amazing. And when we land, we're going to have to wait for our luggage, and then we're going to have to get another car, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so that's like option A. I'm selling you the vehicle, the airplane, the way that I'm going to get you to Greece. Now, if I called you and I said, yo, you want to go to Greece? It's going to be incredible. We're going to have those crystal clear blue waters. Oh my gosh, all of those white rooftops. You know what I'm talking about. The sand is like, oh, it's like powder. It's so white and fine. We're going to go to all those day clubs that turn into nightclubs where people are like standing on the tables and they're smashing the plates. We'll go to Scorpios on Mykonos, that place that everybody shares on Instagram. We'll get to sit on one of those little like swings over the water and take pictures. We could do one of those really cool photo shoots. There's going to be so many beautiful people. We're going to tan. We're going to hang out. We'll do cocktails, mocktails. We're going to go to Athens. We can see the Parthenon. We'll do like a little bit of history, a little bit of partying. It's something for everybody. Are you in? That's option B. Which one would you rather do? The one that's going to require a lot of work and hours and boring things and the vehicle, the airplane, the taxis, the airport? Or B, the idea of the island that I want to get to, the solution that I want, the desired outcome that I've been craving? Because that sounds real good. That sounds real sexy. I want to get to B. If you could get me from A to B and I don't have to deal with the airplane and all the things, if I could snap my fingers and just be there, sign me up. So a huge mistake that a lot of us are making, myself included, I've been there, done that, is that we get so focused on our method, our proprietary model, our container that we created and how many calls it is and how many weeks it is and the workbook that we created and the PDFs and all the videos. And when you sell those things, it sounds like a lot of work. And people don't want to do a lot of work. People want the result. So focus on the transformation, not the vehicle that's going to get them there. That's mistake number 2. Number 3 is thinking that more is better. If I give you more calls, if I give you more content, if I put in more videos, if I make myself more available, if I jump into the Facebook group every single day, if I put up a questions box every single day, if I give you more, then it will be better and your experience will be better. And I am here to tell you that is a huge mistake because number 1, more is not better. In fact, with coaching programs and courses, most of the time, less is better. If someone comes in and you give them a lot, they're going to feel not required. They're going to feel obligated to do everything, to show up for everything, to be on every call, to answer every question, to watch every video, to do every single workbook page because they've paid for it. And when people pay, they pay attention. And when we invest, we want to get the most bang for our buck. We want to squeeze the juice. So if I'm in a container and you're offering me 60 calls, I'm going to feel an obligation and pressure to show up for all 60 so that I get the most out of it. The sheer feeling might now overwhelm me, putting me actually 2 steps behind where I was when I started. Because now I might actually feel like I'm drowning before I've actually started. I might have a perpetual state of feeling like I'm behind. I can never catch up. I'll never be able to do this, which I'm sure is not your intention. The whole point of someone working with you, joining your program, buying your course, is so that you can get them to where they want to go faster and easier. So by you giving them more to make yourself feel a little bit more valuable or like your program is quote unquote worth it, or so that you can charge the amount that you feel you want to charge, I'm just going to throw more stuff in there. You're actually just causing overwhelm, confusion, frustration. You're causing a lot of feelings that we don't want our clients to feel. Less is more. Give your clients time to integrate. Give them time to digest. Give them time to implement. Because we both know that the actual formula here is information, which by the way is not scarce. There's information everywhere. We are living in a time of infobesity, consumptionitis. What you are teaching, respectfully, is taught everywhere. People can get that information for free. They probably have already, but they didn't get the result that they wanted or they didn't take action on it because they're missing the second part of the equation, which is information plus implementation. Implementation is the action, it's the doing. That's where coaches come in, courses come in. It's the accountability, the checklist, the support. It's the coaching calls. It's let me answer that for you. Let me help you. Let me guide you. Don't forget, do your homework, hand it in. Buddy system, check in on each other, show up for this thing. Information plus implementation equals transformation or result or desired outcome. Information is not scarce. The information is everywhere. Your vehicle, your method is proprietary, but what you're teaching is most likely not proprietary. The way that you teach it is proprietary. The systems, the way that you're going to showcase it and put it into a framework is proprietary. People want to work with you because of you. People buy from people. But the information's everywhere. So when we have information plus the implementation, and if you're not giving them time to implement, but you're making them feel overwhelmed, you're doing them a disservice. Those 2 things together are going to equal the results or the transformation. So don't fall into the trap of feeling like you need to put more in. You need to put every single thing that you've ever learned, every tool that you've ever used, every article that you've ever read, it's got to get jammed into this one ebook, this one course, or this one coaching program. That is simply not true. We want to leave room for magic. We want to leave room for implementation. We want to leave room for growth. Don't put everything that you know into one course or program. Only put in that program what is needed to get the person from A to Z. What do you need to do to get them from where they are to go to Greece? It's not every single thing in the entire world that you've ever learned. I can promise you that. Mistake number 4 is over coaching similarly to make yourself feel valuable or enough or like you're doing your job. Now, I don't just mean over coaching in the sense that you're offering too many calls or you're too available or you don't have boundaries and you're letting people text you and you're answering questions at 4 o'clock in the morning, 7 days a week. That's not what I mean here. So this isn't the more is not better, which was mistake 3. This is over coaching, meaning overstepping the line of what coaching actually is. So I don't have it in front of me, but in my world, the definition of coaching is really helping guide someone to their own breakthrough, their own transformation, their own intuitive decision. You're guiding them. You're a mirror and you're reflecting back to them things that they might not see. You're letting them know about things they might not see clearly. This is why we always say you can't read a prescription bottle from the inside. So as a coach, you're on the outside. But what coaching isn't and shouldn't be is you telling someone what to do. That's not coaching. That maybe would be consulting if someone's paying you for that. Maybe that's an element of teaching if that is the expectation where you're coming in to learn a particular thing, a skill, a technique, a theory, and you're a teacher and you're going to drop that mic and you're going to leave after you've taught that thing. But coaching is a relationship. It's a back and forth. It's a let me help guide you to what you think is best for you. When clients ask me questions, I don't tell them answers. Now, if they ask me, hey, what workbook page is this particular framework on? I will tell them it's on page 97. That's different. But I'm guiding them. I'm pointing to where they need to go. But when a client comes in and they ask me a question and they're stressed about limiting belief or imposter, or they don't know how to price their program, or they're not sure about their niche or their ideal client, I don't just say, this is your niche, this is your ideal client. I give them probing questions. I help guide them to the answer. We unpack the onion, right? We peel the layers of the onion. Well, what does that mean? Well, what does that mean? Well, how does your client feel then? Well, what are they struggling with? Go deeper, go deeper, go deeper, go deeper. That is your job as a coach. So too often I've seen this happen hundreds of times. Coaches, especially new coaches, in an effort to feel valuable, to feel that they're doing their job, in an effort to feel like an authority or to feel credible, they'll give an answer. And that's actually doing your client a disservice, especially out of context. You might not know every single thing going on. You might not actually even be qualified in every single area that this one topic covers. So be very cautious that when you're in a coaching program, when you've created a course or anything like that, you're not just telling people what to do. You're guiding them. You're asking better questions and you're teaching them to ask better questions, because the quality of our questions will depend on the quality of the answers that we get. And the quality of those answers will determine the quality of our life or our business. So don't just tell people things. Don't just chirp at them. Help them uncover, help them unravel, help them see what they might not see because they're so in it, they're in the bottle, right? That's what coaching is. And then the 5th most common mistake, as we're kind of transitioning through from the sale of the course or coaching program to what's going on in the course or coaching program, and I'm kind of transitioning you out, hint, 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 if you want that download. I'm giving you 5 other mistakes, and they're going to be more of what's going on in the program and then after the program, which we're not getting into today on this episode. But the 5th most common mistake that I see is that people are actually coaches are forgetting, or they feel uncomfortable, or they're not sure how to ask for wins and testimonials, specifically when they happen. So a lot of times people will get to the end of a coaching program or a course, and then they'll be screaming from the rooftops hey, can you please send me a testimonial? I'll even give you something in exchange. Please, why can't someone send me a testimonial? Can you write something nice? Can you send me a video? And they're why is it not happening? When a client has a win, when they have an aha, when they have a wow moment, when they have a transformation, when something like that happens, it's best to ask them right then and there, in the middle of the program. They're in week 2, they have an aha moment, they say something about that on a coaching call, or they write something about that in your WhatsApp chat. Ask them for a follow-up. Ask them to expand on that right then and there. Or you take a screenshot right then and there and save that to an album of client wins or success or testimonials or transformation or case studies. Personally reach out to them. Hey, I'm so excited that this thing happened. Congratulations. It's amazing. Thank you so much for sharing it on our call or in our group. Would you mind writing a little bit more about that so that I can screenshot it and use it in the future? I'll blur your name out. Would you mind creating a video testimonial real quick about how you feel or what you learned or what this experience has meant to you thus far? There's nothing wrong with having multiple testimonials from the same client. When people go through our signature program, Empower, they'll have wins all along the 12 weeks. And by the end of the 12 weeks, I'll sometimes have 4 videos from the same client. It's like after they made their first sale, and then we're in launch and they've enrolled 3 people. And then we're in launch and now they've enrolled 14 people. And then they've graduated the program and it was the best experience they ever had and it changed their life and their business and they had their first $50,000 month. And now I have 4 variations of different video testimonials from them. I could use all of them. I could use one of them. It's totally fine. But if I just waited until the end and then I begged and I pleaded and was like, please, somebody send me a video, somebody send me a testimonial, it's really difficult to get it, especially after people have graduated or they're not like in that high, that natural high that comes from a win. So get it while it's hot, ask them when it happens, get that feedback, get that testimonial right then and there, and don't forget at the end to collect them. In general, people forget. So just a quick recap of 5 of the most common mistakes that I see new coaches or new coaching programs or courses sort of forget about, things they forget to do, or maybe they've missed the mark. Number 1 is that they're spending time, energy, and potentially money creating the thing before they've actually sold it, which is not the best way to do it. Go with the prototype model like every big company does. Number 2 is that you're focused selling the deliverables. You're focused on the airplane or the vehicle that's going to get someone to A to B rather than the island that they want to get to, which ultimately is way sexier and would include less work. Now, we both know it still requires work, but we don't want to sell the work. We want to sell the transformation. Number 3, thinking that more is better and overpacking your course or your content or your coaching with too much information, too many calls, too many resources, and quite frankly, just completely paralyzing and overwhelming your clients, thinking that you have to do that in order for them to see the value. That's a topic for a different day, but your price is all about your value, and your value has nothing to do with the deliverables. Mistake number 4 is being mindful that you're not crossing the line between coach or consultant or mentor or teacher or therapist, and making sure that you're truly coaching and guiding your clients to their own answers, to what's going to be best for them in their transformation. You're helping them ask better questions because then they'll get better answers. So it's not about how many should they do or what should they be eating, but it's why. Get them to the root cause of why you're telling them to do these certain things. When they can understand why, it opens up a whole nother world for them. That's the same thing as sort of you teach a man to fish, you give a man a fish he can eat for a day, you teach him to fish he could eat for life. If your clients are always asking you what and how many, and you just give them answers, they're never going to understand how to implement it. Get to the why. Teach them how to fish. Don't just give them a fish. And mistake number 4 is missing out on the opportunity for testimonials, especially when they're happening. Get them while they're hot, get them when they're excited, get those testimonials in, whether they're screenshots, they're written, they're videos, and don't forget at the end of the day to collect them at the end of your program. A huge mistake that clients make is then they get into the next launch of their course or program and they're twiddling their thumbs and they have nothing. They're like, I don't know how that happened. I have nothing about how amazing Amy did and how Chris changed his life and all of the things that had happened. So make sure you're capturing those things. If you are looking for 5 more mistakes, I'll tell you right now, I'm looking at them. Some of those mistakes are happening in your program, but a lot of the ones that I'm giving you in this download are what happened after your program or your course as you're getting into your next launch. These are juicy, these are good. Make sure you head to our show notes, click the link, it's totally free. It's just a single page PDF that you can download with 5 more mistakes. Do not make the mistakes that I have, or make them and learn for yourself. That's ultimately how we learn best. But if you could avoid them, I would say avoid as many of these as possible. If you've made these in the past, no harm, no foul, no shame in that game. We've all done it. So the best thing that you can do is just learn from those mistakes moving forward, and those mistakes become lessons. They are nothing else. You are not a failure. Remove all of that nonsense and jargon from your language. As always, if you loved this episode and found it helpful, I'd love to hear from you. Which one of these mistakes are you like, oh my goodness, thank God, I'm avoiding that now. I'm so glad I listened to this episode. Take a screenshot, share it on social media, tag me at I am Jessica DeRose. Let me know which 1, 2, maybe even all 5 mistakes were huge, but we can help more people when we share this on social media and they see it and then they go listen and then they don't make these mistakes either. That right there is the ripple effect. So I would love if you would share that out. It would mean the world to me. And of course, rate and review this podcast if you've ever gotten even 1 ounce of value out of it, because that's how we get it into the hands of more people. And as always, friends, cheers to your evolution. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you loved this episode, I invite you to be a part of our ripple effect and share it with a friend. And please, if you feel called, take 30 seconds to leave a 5-star review, and I'll be forever grateful. Until next time, cheers to your evolution.